So I'm Per Davidsson. I'm Director for the Australian Centre for Entrepreneurship Research at Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, Australia. I'm also Professor of Entrepreneurship at Jönköping International Business School in Jönköping, Sweden. This paper came about because opportunity had become such a central construct in entrepreneurship research. And there was, that has achieved, I think, a couple of important things. It was Shane and Venkataraman who emphasized that when we look at this on the micro level, it's not just about the individual, it's also about that thing that they're working on, the qualities of the opportunity, as they call it. So that helped refocus away from an exaggerated interest in the individual solely. The other thing is, I think it helped entrepreneurship research focus on really early stages before there actually is a firm. So it was part of that as well. So these are the good things. What I was increasingly uneasy with is the complexity of the opportunity construct and the confused discussion. I hadn't really systematically reviewed the literature when I started and I wrote a conference version, but later in the process I made a very thorough review of 210 papers. And it is clear that a vast majority, and this is 210 papers in really good journals, and the vast majority of them, they don't define the opportunity concept. They apply it inconsistently, even those who do define it. And so opportunity means a lot of different things. It is a set of external conditions, it is a subjective idea, it is called an opportunity because the actor thinks it's a favorable thing, or it is called opportunity because the research says so, or because we have evidence of a positive outcome. And the fact that even the most prominent contributors to this stream are not able to use the concept in a consistent manner suggests that this is not because they're stupid or sloppy, it is because of some inherent problem with the concept itself. I first started the style I do with my own thinking, right? And what I knew from casual reading or occasional reading of the literature, pointing out the complexity of the construct. But then I analyzed it very carefully and my own thinking developed, and I realized that maybe firstly, it is for the purpose of micro-level process theorizing, it is the wrong concept, because it is only at the end of the process and in successful cases that we know that what they were working on was actually an opportunity. So we need some other label for this uncertain early stage entity that entrepreneurs are working on. And we also need a concept that includes those things that they screen out, right? So we have to have some explanation why people act on that entity or not, and then we can't call them opportunity to start with. It's also an unnecessary concept because in those successful cases when we know that there was an opportunity in the sense, then we have more tangible labels for that. We have the creation of a new successful venture on the micro level, or if we have the aggregate level, we say they have created a new market or a new market niche or a new product category or a new organizational form. So we already have concepts for that. We don't have to take the detour via opportunity. And I think one of the root problems is that opportunity by necessity, by any definition, consists both of contents and favorability. If there's no favorability, we don't have any need for that label. So we have contents, and we can agree on the contents, but we can disagree on the favorability of the contents. Right? And the contents can be either a subjective idea, or it can be a set of external conditions. And these are very, very different things, right? Because you can take the same idea for a new venture and put it in different environments, and then of course the external conditions are very different. So we have this, the contents and the favorability may be objective favorability if we want to believe in such a thing, that there are a set of external circumstances that make something viable. There is also subjective favorability, that I think that this will fly. Of course, another actor may think that this is not something that will fly, and if you're the investor and I'm the entrepreneur, we have different evaluations of this entity, and it becomes awkward if the researcher calls it an opportunity. All these three things, the contents, the objective favorability and the subjective favorability, can change over time, and as a result we have failures and we have abandoned projects. So it becomes ineffective to try to make theoretical and empirical progress if we try to put all those things into the opportunity label, and it's a confused discussion. So what I do in the paper, in the latter part of the paper, after reviewing and critiquing, I suggest that we acknowledge the importance of external reality by focusing on external enablers. External enablers are things like new technology, regulatory change, socioeconomic change, and so forth. Aggregate level things that we know can trigger and give room to new economic activities. They are not the full set of conditions that makes an individual venture fly, but it's a very reasonable assumption that when you have a change like this, some people will try some new things and some of them will be successful. So that's external enablers. The main concept for the contents of the micro level entity for me is a new venture idea. So this is an imagined future venture. What is the product or service? What are the customers? How is this going to be delivered? What is the revenue model? So it has some aspects of business model in it as well. So, and of course that is also a challenging construct, because this starts as a rudimentary idea. It can change over time and so forth. But if we take this idea of nexus of individual and this other entity seriously, then we know for individuals, for example, after lots of work in psychology, we have come up with big five personality characteristics. I think it would be good if we had good, strong concepts to describe venture ideas that cover a lot of cases, and where we could say something about how they affect success chances in particular types of environments and for particular types of actors. So we can say something about, well, this is maybe a novice shouldn't go for that kind of idea. That's more for an expert. Maybe that kind of thing can work in an emerging market. That kind of thing works better in an established market, and so forth. So I think that there's a lot of work to be done there, and there is some really wonderful work in the opportunity stream. But this is one area where we haven't made a lot of progress. That is on sort of what are the salient characteristics of this non-actor part of the nexus. So theorizing that, operationalizing it, providing evidence of how it influences the outcomes in entrepreneurial processes. That is a big job that I think the language I try to develop provides a better foundation for doing that. So that's what I'm trying to contribute positively, apart from the critiquing, because it's not to sort of denounce what has come before me. Like I said, there's some wonderful research there, and it's only because of what's there that I can see what hasn't come out of this stream yet.